Wow. Well, what might you say to someone? Because at the very beginning of all this, you shared that you allow yourself the space to come up with a menu. And there might be people out there that are stuck on the sidelines right now that have a reason or an excuse. And it might be something of the nature of, yeah, I just don't have time to do that. I've got to take care of my kids. I've got to go to work. I've got this and that, A and B happening. I just don't have time to do that. What might be a new perspective you might be able to offer someone who has, a reason or excuse that they're not able to spend time on their menu?
Yeah, I mean, this is just like anything else that it's like, we don't have time for the things that we don't feel are important enough, but we make time for the things that are. And when I think about this, I think this is such I don't know the age that it is. I think it's different for everybody, but we all end up reaching this age where, I shouldn't say all, many people end up in a situation where you're a parent, you're a spouse, you're working, you have a mortgage, you have all these things. So almost all of our schedule is, I'm going to call it obligatory, right? It's obligation. And not in a bad way, but like I got to drive the kids to school. Okay, I got to make dinner. I have to go to this meeting. I have to work these hours. And the thought to say I need to put myself first, I think is difficult because that's not what we're kind of like told to do on a regular basis. And there's not, very rarely is somebody getting recognized for like taking personal time in the middle of the day to go to the gym, right? It's almost like, wait, what's that person doing? So I think that this is a little out of the norm for somebody to do. Um, I'm going to go a little different direction to answer the question. I would love to just do dreams workshops for individuals all over the world. So what does that mean? I think that I've had so many people that have heard me on a podcast or heard the topic, whether it was at a face-to-face event or something, that said, well, how do I get my spouse to do this, or how can I build my list? And my response right now is, your company has to hire me to come and do the dreams workshop for the team. Like, that's kind of, I've chosen to go the path of business because, in terms of return on time invested is going to be larger, right? What I would love to build this to is being able to do regular dreams workshops online, in person, for the individual. And I think that the amount of work that somebody can do in a 2 hour, I'm working right now on doing a recorded one that people can just watch on like an on demand, so that once they are ready to say, hey, like, again, it'd be like after hearing the podcast, they're like, I want to do that, they can go online, do the guided workshop with the prompts.
Yes. Well, for those who don't know what that is, Dane, can you give some context? I know what it is. I've been through it. I'm a huge fan of it. I would encourage everyone to do it this year as soon as you can. It's been amazing. For those who don't know what that is, when you say Dreams Workshop, can you give us some context, please? What is the Dreams Workshop?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like a dream storming exercise, right? So brainstorming, but with dreams. And essentially, we kind of set the table a little bit, and then I walk the participants through 9 different categories, from travel, adventure, material, financial, career, relationships, health, spirituality, legacy, creative. Like, there's it really, it's meant to touch every part of somebody's life. And so that process of going through, it's not like you're just sitting there with your own thoughts going through. I fill the entire time with prompts. And so when we go through, it's like I'm just rattling off different things that could be something that somebody's interested in, and you're just independently working on your list and going to town on it. In my experience, most people are, by the time that this session is over, will typically come up with, like, the smallest lists are usually about 100, and there's people that will come up with 200 to 300. I have people that go through this every year on my work team that have over 1,000 dreams on their list. And a dream isn't something that has to be this big, large, grandiose, like, get my dream house, right? Some of them are, be able to do 20 push-ups at once, right? Like, some of them are small and very attainable to be able to do next week, next month. We just don't give ourselves the idea to do it, and or the planning to actually put it in the calendar. And that's kind of what this is. So at the end, somebody has their menu, and then we do a little bit of action planning at the end of just like, hey, what are some low hanging fruit? What are some things that you can do to go get a win on your dreams list? Just kind of like start the whole, domino effect, right?
Love it. Oh, out of curiosity, how many push-ups can you do right now?
Well, on my dreams list for this year was to do 50 at once. And at that last, the Front Row Dads Summit, what was that one? February or March?
Yes. Yeah, yep.
I did, I did, I did 55. I was like, all right, heck yeah. So one of the things on my list, I hired a health coach. I've always wanted to do that. I hired a health coach for 2022, and so that's been going great. And yeah, so I crossed that one off the list, which is
Fantastic. Well, I didn't know where that question would go. It's on your dreams list. What else? What else might be a unique or a fun dream on your list that because of the exercise you're engaged in it right now?
Um, so one of them is to always make sure that we're trying to level up our relationship. So my wife and I do like my marriage, right? So my wife and I do relationship coaching, right? Where we see a therapist, an intimacy coach. Elisa, you remember her? Were you at the San? I don't know if you were at the San Diego one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
we hired.
Extraordinary Marriage Podcast. I love them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we hired Elisa pretty quickly after that, maybe. So this would have been 2 3 years ago, and we have a session with her every so often. And it's kind of like our regular doctor checkup, right? Like let's go and make sure that everything's good instead of going to the doctor when things aren't good. And so that's been great, but that's on our list. It kind of continues to be on our list. Weekly date nights is one that's on my list that we don't hit it perfectly, but it's having 52 date nights in a year has been on my list every year since we've been married. We have yet to accomplish it, but every year we have gotten closer to that mark of 52, right? And so that's been one that has felt really good, right? And it's improved our relationship.
it feels like living the values we were talking about earlier, moving from business to the family first. It feels like as you get closer to that, you're really making that shift. Fantastic. What might be one or two more dreams on there? This is fascinating to hear you share.
I'm for my 40th birthday, so it's a dream on there that we have a date set for, but I want to rent an island. And so that's just on there, rent an island. And some people might have buy an island on theirs. I have rent an island on there. And so we're going to do it for my 40th birthday, which is in 2 years.
Fantastic. Wow, that's amazing. Well,
And by the way, this goes into the whole when you put something on your dreams list and you start to research it, you find out that it's actually more attainable than what you might think in just hearing it. Because, like that, rent an island, you might have an idea that, like, oh my God, that's got to cost a ton. Do some research. We've been finding some that we can rent for like $1,000 to $2,000 a night and get like 20 people smaller that are like Airbnb style that you can get all your friends and family. Like it's way more affordable than what it everybody has a different definition of affordable, but it's not necessarily what somebody would think. I think when you hear rent an island.
yeah.